So I've been wanting to do a what's on my iPhone video for a while. Let's dive right in. Starting off with the lock screen, we've got a picture that I took at the Kennedy Space Center as my background. And I love the way that the rocket here at the top covers up the clock a little bit. That's one of my favorite features on the iPhone lock screens. I don't have any widgets on the lock screen, and I am running iOS 18. I kept flashlight and I kept camera over here. I might experiment with changing those in the future. Diving into the home screen, top to bottom. So at the top, I have the Fantastical widget, and I love Fantastical. Now this is a widget stack. So I have the calendar here. It shows me the next few days along with the date really large. When I swipe up, I've got the battery widget. See, I got the Apple Watch, AirPods are around here somewhere. And apparently I need to charge the case a little bit. Underneath that, I've got a widget from the app called Stoic, which is a little bit of a journaling app. I have a quote here that comes up, and it has different quotes from different, Stoic type people throughout the day. And then underneath that, I have the day one widget in case I easily want to get in for the daily prompt. And then back to the top. So the top row of app icons, I've got the wallet. I use the Apple Card and Apple Wallet. Try to use Apple Pay almost everywhere that I go. One of my most used cards. Next to that, I have a folder full of all of the Apple apps. Weather, photos, news, shortcuts, podcasts, mail, music, maps, calendar. I use these a fair amount, but they're not something that I use all the time. I try to keep my home screen to the least amount of clicks to get to the things that I use most often. Settings, I don't know. This is a carryover from iPhones of past. It's just always there. And then clock, if I want to change my alarm or sleep settings, I have the clock there as well. Google Maps, primarily my navigation of choice when I'm going around. I wish they would have integrated Waze a little bit better in there, but it is what it is. Google Maps and Apple Maps are actually pretty comparable. I use them interchangeably at this point. I have a finance folder with the various applications that I use to keep track of the stock market and other investments. And I keep the camera app on the home screen as well. And the App Store, you might be thinking, why do you go into the App Store? Well, I still go in and manually update my apps occasionally. I don't understand. I wish iPhone was a little bit better about that, but almost every time I go into the App Store and refresh the apps that I have, it has an app to update that didn't update automatically. The next row is a little bit of a social row, and I keep thinking about what I want to do with this because YouTube, I use a fair amount on the phone, but to be honest with you, I use YouTube on the computer and the TV more often than I do on the phone. Instagram, I almost never use anymore. Posted some photos on Instagram the other day and got like a handful of likes. Similar with Reels, I don't make a lot of content that is specific for Instagram, so thinking about that. And Facebook I use to basically keep up with groups. There's mountain biking groups in the area, car groups in the area for things like Cars and Coffee and different car shows that are going on. Now, Threads is one of my most used social applications. I like going on there. I like the community. There's a few of you that reply back to things that I post on there and like my posts and pictures and stuff like that. So if you feel like giving me a follow on Threads, go ahead. I'll be on there. I like that a lot better than X at this point. And Reminders is my to-do list application of choice at the moment. I've been using Apple Reminders and Apple Notes together for the past few months, and I like that as well. SoFi, another bank account, investments. Sheets is where my budget is, so I do pull that up on the phone a fair amount just to see what kind of bills and things are coming up and mark off bills that I have paid. And then Apple Notes, of course. My note app of choice, everything is in there. My whole brain for this YouTube channel and everything else in my life is run out of Apple Notes. And in the bottom home row here, I've got Safari, self-explanatory. I like Safari built in on the Apple apps. I use it on the computer as well over Google Chrome. Phone is kind of a holdover again from previous iPhones. I wouldn't say I use that all the time. I, in fact, have notifications turned off for the phone now because I get so many spam calls and voicemails. Those come up in the daily summary for me at the end of the day. And I'm not often calling people. And if I do, actually, Siri is pretty good for that. Yeah, I'm not talking to you. Messages, self-explanatory. I do use iMessage and text messages a lot. And then the Gmail client. I like the Gmail client a little bit better than Apple Mail for managing Gmail. Just the shortcuts that I have set up for labels and archive, although it's not as easy to do on the phone. So let's go over to the left to whatever they call this page. I've got a large weather widget, and then I have the stock Apple stock app widget. Then I have Apple Notes underneath there. And I have a shortcut widget as well. This is also a stack. I have things like daily journal, morning pages, a couple other things that I use a fair amount in a stack. I don't often swipe over to the left. I could probably be better about that and make better use of this area, but I just don't have the habit to do that. So other than that, I'm a two home screen person. So I have this main screen with a cluster of apps on it. And I have this second screen, again, with a widget up top, and it's also a stack. So I have the Apple Fitness widget up there underneath that. I've got the Zones widget. So this is really just tracking any time in a heart rate zone throughout the week. See, right now I'm trailing by last week a little bit, but I have more time in zone 3 and 4 this week than I did last week. I like seeing that. I don't know if you're a heart rate zone person and you're trying to up your zone 2 time. That's a good app. Underneath that, I have the new athletic widget for steps. And I am trying to get to 10,000 steps a day. See, it looks like I got there on, is that Monday? And we'll have to go take the dog for a walk today, try to get my step count up. Okay, underneath that in the top row, we've got Readwise Reader, which is something that I'm trying to make better use of. Anytime I want to sign up for a newsletter, I try to use the Readwise feed function and that email that goes along with it. I'm not super good about going in there and clearing things out and actually managing it. The upside to Readwise Reader is that anything you highlight in this app gets synced to Readwise, and then if you have that set up to sync to something like Obsidian or whatever other service you're using, it does that as well. Moving over to Amazon. I don't think I need to explain Amazon to anybody at this point. To the right of that, I have some utilities, things like the Apple Store, Apple Watch, Authenticator app, password, VPN. To the right of that, I have a Microsoft folder back from when I was using OneDrive, cloud storage from them. That would have been in here, but Authenticator, LinkedIn, and the Xbox app go in there. Really, Authenticator is probably the most used for that, for the few things I do have set up in there. I have a photo and video folder. I don't often use these things either, but Lightroom is probably the most used one in this section. And if I'm taking photos that are raw on the iPhone 14 Pro, I will edit them in Lightroom. Next, shopping. Few apps that I like using. If you're into cars and you want to rent some cool cars, Turo is a great app. I've had some good experiences on that app. And a few other shops and places that I frequent, including B&H Photo. Games. I don't play a lot of games on the iPhone, but when I do, they're almost always an Apple Arcade title. So there's some Apple Arcade games in here. Philips Hue. We have a handful of Philips Hue lights throughout the house, in the kitchen, and in the bedroom. Make sure everything is off at night. I'll use the Philips Hue app to check in on that. Simply Safe. Stretch It is a stretching app. Obsidian I don't use on the phone really often at all, but in case I need to check in on something, it's there. Hub space, I have one smart light in the house that uses a different app. Freaking annoying, but it's an okay app. At least works to turn the thing on and off, change the color, whatever. The Calm app is great for meditation. I love the daily meditations on there. And I fall into and out of habits where I do that every day and don't do it every day. So good app to have. Pliability is another stretching app that I enjoy. A little bit different style than some of the other stretching apps that are out there. And then I have one that I call Fitness that houses things I've talked about in the past: Run Kit, Work Outdoors, Day One. Bevel and Athletic add a little bit of extra functionality to the Apple Watch, like Garmin Connect would. The Nike Run app, Strava, and the Health app. And then I just have a random stretch folder. I don't know why I have so many stretching apps, but GoWOD is another favorite. A little bit expensive for both, GoWOD and Pliability, but they target different things and they have a little bit different programs set up, so it's nice to have those. So at a high level, that's what's on my iPhone home screen. It's the end of 2024 here. I'm still using the iPhone 14 Pro right now. And I really haven't changed this in the last few years. I'm kind of stuck in the habit of, well, this works. I've made a few changes here and there. And in this video, I came up with a few more ideas of things I might want to tweak. If you like this video, subscribe for more. Give it a thumbs up if it provided you some value, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.